Hi Mick, how are you doing today?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm so glad that you could join. So I came across Jointflows via Seed Legal's post, which is another startup that I'm really fond of. And I had met with Anthony earlier this year, and I respect him quite a lot. So it was interesting when I saw your interview with him, and I wanted to learn more about Jointflows. And I also know that you are currently raising a seed round, which we will talk about in detail so that
Mhm.
this interview could help potential investors learn more about joint flows. So let's get started. So firstly, I would want to learn about your journey. So what did you do in the past that led you to this point where you are now working on joint flows?
Sure. So I spent most of my career leading sales at fast growth company, especially in SaaS, so software as a service, companies like Yieldify and Tiny Clues, which have both now been acquired. And everyone in every one of these roles, I always saw the same issue when it came to forecasting and, more importantly, executing deals, so progressing deals to completion. And we had really strong, solid strategies, smart teams, really talented people. But when it came to actually running the deals, things would fall through the cracks almost all the time. We would have end of the quarter nightmares like most of SaaS teams have. We just didn't know where the deals were. We didn't know what to do next in order to unlock that next milestone, which means that forecasts were off, deals slipped, and reps were completely overwhelmed. And the tools that we had, mainly CRMs like Salesforce, HubSpot, they weren't built to manage executions. So like their system of records, that databases. And we are trying to kind of hack them so that they can help you operate. And they're not built for that. And that's when I knew that there should be a better way to operate sales, to manage sales, but also as an individual contributor, there should be a better way to sell value to clients with a faster delivery, which is what led to Jointflows.
Thank you. Now, I saw something called composable funnels on your website. So can you tell us more about that and overall product in general?
Yeah, so the composable funnel is a byproduct of Jointflow's OS operating system. So when I saw how chaotic modern sales is, when you've got 5 to 10 people involved on the buying side and they all have different needs at different stage of the buying process, they all have different context as well. So one buying process is not the same as another. The whole idea of moving those stages through a clean 5 stage funnel, top down, disco demo pricing, was just not working anymore. A good example of this is we were using the same funnel for small deals versus very long, chunky deals. One of them would be 1 month long, the other one would be 16 months long. One of them would have one buyer, the other one would have 16 buyers. Yet they all follow the same track in your CRM, so following the funnel. So we didn't set out to build a better funnel. What we've built is essentially a sales execution OS, and the composable funnel is the outcome of that. Is how we model the reality to modern sales. And there's a really good piece of content by Gartner which shows what the B2B buying journey looks like today. And it's nothing linear, it's nothing like 5 stages, it's a web of interconnected actions with multiple streams that are being operated at the same time in parallel, which you can't do in a funnel. So it's flexible, it's multi-threaded, and we actually align to how buyers buy. So it's buyer-led. So essentially, it's how you can build your sales processes around one of buying requirements in the order in which those requirements needs to be delivered.
So I want to learn now more about the product market fit. So was there initially like a customer or a metric that you tracked and you felt that, okay, we have got something here?
Yeah, so we typically track deal slippage. Like the problem is in your ability to deliver an outcome in a chosen time frame. And deal slippage implies two things. It implies your inability to control the deal, because if you were able to control the deal, then you would know when the deal will land, therefore it wouldn't slip. Or your inability to have visibility into the deal in terms of what the buyer needs to go through with their respective processes. If you have visibility on this, then you can predict when this deal is going to happen. So we've got really good case studies on the website. We've got a couple, one with Sales Cycle, one with Superseed. One speaks about revenue recognition, which is from discovery all the way through invoicing. So more and more of our clients are on a consumption-based model, which means that, the sales cycle is only just the tip of the iceberg. They also need to then roll out the technology. And the other one speaks about sales rigor and best practices. Now, these two disciplines needs to be working together, right? You can only deliver the best processes if you've got a rigorous way to understand what needs to happen and who's responsible for it. And one of our clients have accelerated revenue recognition in a very competitive market by 40%.
Thank you. So, what customer segment are you looking at right now? And a little bit on your pricing model. And also, if you could talk about your product roadmap.
Yeah, so we're going after post-Series A's SaaS companies at the moment because the founding team has experience in SaaS, specifically MarTech, sales tech, and legal tech and insure tech. So we know exactly what buyers need to go through and how sales teams operate in order to then be successful. Typically, when you've got an engine in place, which you're trying to accelerate and scale, so if you've got £5 million ARR, that's a good indication for us of value that we can deliver for these clients. And typically, when there's sophistication in the process. So, if you're selling to a buying committee as opposed to a single buyer, then you're probably project managing and requiring a high level of impeccable intentional execution, which is what we are providing. And we plug on top of CRMs like Salesforce, HubSpot, and Microsoft Dynamics. So again, if you've got one of these tools, 99% of the case, you've got execution issues coming from it as well.
Thank you. Now, we always talk about moat for startups. So, what is something that differentiates you compared to other sales tech startups that we have right now?
Yeah, so having sold sales tech, a lot of the solutions that are on the market at the moment are what we call shallow level. They fix symptom. They don't actually fix the root cause of the problem, mostly because they are leveraging funnel data, which we've just discussed is just irrelevant, right? The buyer don't buy in a funnel, so why track the deals as if they were? So if you're then extrapolating this data set, then you're just having something even more wrong, and that decrease the perception of the sales tech as a whole because then nothing actually solves the issue, which is why 25 years later, we're still trying to fix the problem of execution that Salesforce has created, not purposefully, but as a result of using funnels to monitor deals. So we are not doing this. What we're doing is from the ground up, we essentially built a structure that allows you to build a system of execution on top of the system of records that you're using. And then AI agents are now leveraging the proprietary data of Jointflows as opposed to just transcript data, which is what 90% of sales tech is doing. So they all have the same value prop, more or less, at least the same outcome, which is, hey, I've heard that, send a follow-up email or do whatever you can get out of a prompt. So we use our own proprietary data, which is deal execution based, and that gives us exponential value to bring to the table to our clients.
Now, before we move on to the seed funding round questions, I wanted to ask just one last one about Jointflows. Is that 5 years from now, with Jointflows success, how do you think a salesperson would feel different?
Yeah, so today, the most successful salespeople innately gifted at project management. They're well organized, they're disciplined, and they can run a deal like you would run a project, which you can't count on as a sales leader. You can't count on Bob's innate inabilities or Jane talents that she was born with, right? So, step one is to make sure that project management is not an innate skill set and that you can emulate that through a software. That's the sales execution OS that we're providing. That's the next year and a half. On top of that, we will start adding AI agents more and more to automate what we hear and transform that into project alignment and customization. And then the next step is to become omnipotent. And what I would like sales to be about is speaking to your clients, to your prospects, understanding their problems, and making sure that you can deliver a solution to these problems in a timely manner. So fast forward to 5 years time, just speak to your clients, Jointflows will do the rest.
Awesome, I love that. Okay, so talking about the seed round that you're currently raising, could you tell us how much capital you're raising? How do you plan on using that capital? And what will be the milestones you would want to achieve before you get ready for Series A?
Yeah, so we are raising £1 million, $1 million. A third of it is already penciled by a couple of funds. So the round is only open on Monday. So we were quietly launching for a week. So super pumped by the amount of traction we have already. The money goes into three buckets. We're doing more AI now that we've got moats on proprietary data and a proper operating system, which is also easily activatable. You can trigger quite easily through your CRM. We are then trying to start a PLG motion just so that we can go to market and offer value to a wider set of people that we don't have to go through a sales process with. So very important nowadays, as you can expect with all the free trials that you can get there. And then the third one is to start opening the US market as soon as possible as well. When we hit £3 million, $3 million ARR, and sales teams start treating Jointflows as their execution OS as a wide mainstream tool, as in when we've crossed the chasm, we're not just a tool, we're then part of the workflows and we own them. So it opens a lot more avenues and options for us to then go into other niches and markets.
So are you looking for any specific type of investors, and how should people reach out to you if they have any questions about the round?
If you feel like we can do better than what we were doing 30 years ago in sales, and that can fix a systemic issue, and you know that this has a lot of value from an investment point of view, then just reach out because it's already started. Like we're not about pitching the idea anymore. We're about pitching the speed of growth and what we can do with more capital. So, at the end of the day, it will impact their own portfolio companies as well. Most of the investment a VC make is not going to friction, right? It doesn't generate a high return on investment. So what if we could change that? Because the whole problem is about going to market at the end of the day, is how you can monetize an idea and scale that idea into a much wider monetization scale, which is running best in breed sales processes, right? So that's exactly what we do. So there's a win-win here, a win-win-win. We can grow faster, we can make their own portfolio company grow faster, which means that the whole vertical also grows faster. And if we can, as we're planning to own the category, the sales execution or the revenue execution category, then yeah, it's a no-brainer.
And how should people reach out to you? Is LinkedIn the best way, or shall I share your email? How do we do that?
Yeah, LinkedIn, email, WhatsApp. Like you can find us. We are very active on LinkedIn. You can just DM us. If it's easier for you. Or yeah, you can use my email if it's faster.
Thank you so much, Mick, for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.